doesn't go beyond what we have now. So some of the issues that have cropped up, I'll read from the paper. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm a bit off the weather this morning. Sorry, I'll gather myself later. And it says that residents desert towns over fears of reprisals and arrests. That is the normal reaction. You know, our security forces sometimes can be overbearing. They can go start arresting anybody in sight. But there's some videos, and that's why, again, you have to be very careful. What I advise people to do is, once there's something like this, if there's nothing you can do to prevent these actions going on, disappear from the scene immediately. Because if you hang around, you become an accomplice. I don't think people know that. If you hang around and it's going on and you're caught on video doing absolutely nothing, you become an accomplice. Okay? But the little that we have here is that President explains what led to mob action, panic in Nepuma market over alarm of attack. Governor hits the road, meets Kanu governor, deputy senate president, says justice will prevail for victims. Aggrieved Kanu youth, women carry placards, demand speedy justice for victims. Governor meets deputy senate president Barau, says 14 suspects will be taken to Abuja for further interrogation. Will ensure perpetrators are brought to book, Senator Barau. And ACF calls for independent judicial panel. And in the story, there are various accounts of who did what or who saw what in the Vanguard of today. May the souls of the departed rest in peace. And like I said, I would like to appeal one more time, before we react in public and indeed in private, let us get a clear picture of what actually took place. I think that is very, very important. Though there are questions to be asked, I don't know what kind of a hunting expedition would bring somebody all the way from Port Harcourt through Essaland and with the gun say you're gonna. That raises an alarm in my head. But let's just be patient and wait to get an account of what actually happened.
All right. I think all has been said. You've said it all, sir. Let's move on to another paper. Really sad. On page 10 of today's Vanguard, Tuesday, April 1, FG to shut Lagos Independence Bridge for 2 months. Is that the one we're looking at, or is it the Daily?
It's wrong.
Okay.
Well, this is for your information, really. Those who apply, who have to come to VI, whether daily or otherwise, you no longer be able to come for the next 2 months. You no longer be able to come to VI through the Independence Bridge. You'll have to go all the way to Ikoyi to access VI. So
that's the one that leads to Nikon.
No, you can't come through Nikon anymore.
But that's the Independence Bridge.
That's the Independence Bridge. Now you have to go all the way to Ikoyi to link VI, and so you need to adjust your timing with the things. I expect there'll be loads of traffic. I hope last mile will be up to scratch in all this. Awolowo Road is going to face a lot of pressure. So will the what's this major road in the
Rewani.
Kingsway Road. I don't know.
Rewani.
I know it as Lugard. I grew up.
Okay.
It has Lugard. Lugard and all those areas. What supposed to be Kingsway Road will be under a lot of pressure. I would say for the next 2 months you don't really plan to come to VI unless it's absolutely necessary. And by the way, I'd like to thank the governor most sincerely for lighting up a cool bridge. It's now like a Christmas tree, and it was a nice place to drive through. And this is a lesson that I don't know whether it was planned before. It's just a coincidence, but we've been talking about this for close to 9 months.
Yeah. And
now the bridge is lit. I think it's just proper that we acknowledge that the needful has been done. We don't know whether it's the federal government or Lagos state government, but
whoever.
Yes.
Are you thanking whoever did it, or you are commending them?
Well, you've gotten me in some kind of trap that I don't like, because I don't like this idea of commending government for doing something.
Thanking.
It's like somebody commending me for coming to the studio this morning when I'm paid to do so. You understand what I'm saying? Even when Sherry Polati says, "I like you, thank you for coming," I just laugh at it. You paid me to come now. But in the circumstances that we are, in all honesty, we will thank them. We also like to call on the governor. There is a terrible security situation that you have in Ikoyi and VI. And given the recent thing that happened in Edo State, we have to, and especially Oniru, we have to be very, very careful with those areas. And I hope somebody in government is listening. One of the most dangerous places to live, but they don't know yet, is these highbrow areas. People think it's the safest. No, it's not. So many of the uncompleted buildings, 12 floors, 14 floors, some of them are occupied.
By who?
By miscreants mainly. Or let me just say unidentifiable people. And this is an army in waiting. There was a post I saw on Facebook yesterday that frightened me. I've passed it on to the authorities to see what they can do with it. But we really do need to be careful in Lagos. And I like the security, those who are in charge of the security architecture in Lagos, to please be at full alert. If you see the influx of non-identifiable people, I think most of them are foreigners, that you have in VI
loitering
and the Koi loitering, it would really, really frighten you and give you cause for concern. In fact, I hope that as it is now, this situation would not overwhelm the security forces if anybody wants to burst the bubble. So, it's something that really, really, really needs a lot of attention. So that's where we'll be focusing our mind on now. Now that the bridge is lit, feeling safe within this environment will be one of our major concerns.
Uncle Jimi, it's very important, this light thing you mentioned, because it used to be I used to drive from Ikorodu Road, all the way through Surulere, through Echo Bridge, down to Marina, all the way through Independence Bridge, down to Ozumba. And sometimes there's no light, but sometimes you see the light on from maybe a stadium down towards Costain and all the spaces.
Oh, by the way, stadium is fully lit now, even the under bridge. The security forces have to make sure that nobody tampers. It's always lit up. After a while, these miscreants find a way of taking the light out. But we have to keep the under bridges safe.
Very safe.
I've always said that. And to the Commissioner for Works, Mr. Tokes Wahab, who's doing a very good job. As far as I'm concerned.
Tokumbo Wahab is environment.
Environment, sorry. The people he sent out packing in Ijora are gradually assembling again.
That's what happens.
Yes. So now is the time to go and nip it in the bud.
Uncle Jimi,
let me spoil his salad for him.
Okay.
So we will have to go yes, they're assembling again. Under the bridge is becoming compartmentalized into rooms all over again. And I think the thing to do is, if you can clear the place now, you need to fence it out. That's the way I've seen it done in other countries. You have high bars and just fence it out because you need to protect your bridges. I don't think people know the importance of the bridges that we have. You need to protect your bridges. If you have your bridges compromised, that's it. Lagos is, are we going to be going to Ikoyi through Ikorodu, access through Ekpe to get to work in the morning?
That's a long
bridges route. The bridges are the greatest assets. That is what holds Lagos together. I remember I was telling somebody in the 70s when I was a civil servant. There were days when I would leave Yaba Alagomeji at 7 and not get to work until about 1 p.m.
From Yaba to where?
Yeah, to Yaba to Marina.
Okay.
In those days, before odd and even was then introduced, you don't know about that one. There was a time in Lagos there was odd and even.
Uncle Jimi, we know, even if we know about it. It's a popular story.
It's a popular story.
Yes, but sir, so the street lights. I was just about to say the street lights being there is one thing. Being put on regularly every day is another thing. Because the street lights on the Quadry Road stretch are working, down to Surrey, but they're not always on. Even on Ozumbamba way, or let me say Lekki Ekpe Expressway, all the way to Victoria Island, they are working, but they're not always on.
Well, to be honest, be honest with the government, to be honest about this, and not in defense of the government, but to face reality. I don't know what kind of people we are. We build a bridge, and people go and steal the iron bars. You put on the lights, they go steal the bulbs. You try solar, they go steal the solar panels. I can't understand this. We now have to be our brother's keeper. Police can't be everywhere. That's the reality.
But this is not a case of anything stolen, sir.
No,
some.
Wait.
The street lights,
Some, because you can see. Sometimes you move forward, then you see an isolated one is on. Usually, before you know it, how can you have a bridge, for example, without railings?
But when the president comes in, the lights are on.
No.
Some Uncle Jimi.
That's
Uncle Jimi. I'm a daily user of that stretch.
I'm a daily user too.
No, you're not always a daily user. These are what?
But sir, I don't want to see. I know what you are insinuating. I know. Wait, calm down. I know what you are insinuating.
No.
And I think it's a bit unfair.
I'm not insinuating it.
No, I'm saying
sometimes.
When you said when the president, of course, I'm not. Nobody.
Sometimes.
Nobody is in charge.
I was given a daily report last year.
I don't believe. The truth is, to be honest with you, given the amount of money we spend on infrastructure, which of course is even padded, the behavior of our people, to be honest, is mind-boggling.
True.
We need some kind of education that you don't
vandalize public property.
Yes.
Public property, you vandalize.
That's why they during the days of Buhari, they were so frustrated that they put up a decree that said that if you touch government property, it's death. In fact, I think you will be shot at sight.
I think we need that.
We
need that.
Maybe.
Look what's happened on Third Mainland Bridge, where they've been catching people stealing those reflective lights on that.
What haven't they stolen?
Why?
Even the drainage cover. You can't run on that bridge in the middle.
Sir,
you could go down a manhole straight into
which of the bridges?
Eco Bridge.
Sir, it's a national problem. These new flyovers that Wike commissioned, just a couple of weeks after the commissioning, these are the ones that flyover 1, flyover 2, flyover 3 was bragging about. In fact, 2 days after, they stole the manhole covers.
So you ask yourself, people will still provide security. Are you going to put a policeman every half kilometer of the road?
It's all over the country.
There
are people who go around stealing these things.
We are our own enemies in a manner of speaking sometimes. Well.
So I'll join you in saying kudos to the Lagos State government for lighting.
Don't join me. Say your own.
You said thank you. Now.
No,
you said thank you.
you said when you accused them. You said when the president is coming.
No,
it's usually late.
It's. I said sometimes. My observation.
Do you know when the president is coming?
Sir, I use this road almost every day.
Mm-hmm. I use the road
more than you.
Let's go.
So please keep the lights on the entire Quadry Road stretch all the way to Bonny Camp, and then on Ozumbamba, by the way, also on Lekki Ekpe Expressway. Even this morning, I came from that axis this morning.
I know.
Yes, it's
not making
difficult.
Not making excuses for our leaders, because a lot of these things are self-inflicted injuries on their part. This country is very difficult to govern.
Yes.
When I hear some things on radio, I heard, for example, somebody calling this morning and blaming the governor for going to Kano. What do you want him to do? Sit back and then watch everything burn? Then next you hear is that 500 or 600 people of southern origin are killed in Kano. I mean, let's be reasonable.
Uncle Jimi, if I wanted to talk about every day I have to drive on either Quadry Road or Lekki Ekpe Expressway in darkness, you and I, if we wanted to talk about it every day, we won't discuss it.
You have been located now.
No,
you are in a safe haven here now.
I'm both ways. I'm both ways.
Yeah,
I'm both ways.
Yeah, in a safe haven.
I'm both ways. I have two addresses in Lagos.
I'm one in Accra.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
All right, let's move to the next one. How Eid al-Fitr is celebrated around the world. It's quite interesting.
Yeah, I just found this story. I just found it because on a day like this, really, you don't have much to talk about locally. And so this could be an interesting read. It's in the New Telegraph and page 28. Let's see how, Eid al-Fitr is celebrated in some parts of the world. In Senegal and Nigeria, Eid, known as Korite or Salah, is a time for prayer, feasting, and vibrant fashion statements. Food plays a central role, with families preparing generous portions of jollof rice, yassa pule, and grilled meats to share with neighbors and the less fortunate. In the Middle East, in the Gulf, Eid morning begins with communal prayers, followed by family visits, elaborate feasts, and the exchange of gifts. Across Europe, North America, and Australia, Eid celebrations reflect the diversity of Muslim communities, from large outdoor festivals with food trucks, fashion pop-ups, and live music to intimate home gatherings, blending local and cultural traditions. Each celebration is unique. Fashion is often a fusion of styles and so on and so forth. I'd like to quickly, on a local note, I remember when I was younger, when there was money in the land, not now. my dad, I remember my dad, Disu, he would have bought his fabric and he would hide it with his new pair of shoes. He used to wear Limson shoes in those days. He would hide it, and it used to be fun because, of course, we would also wear new clothes, but you don't know what he's wearing. He'd lock his door. Then when it's about 8:30, he'll press the bell. He had a bell. Pa, 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 that's my signal, 4 bells. Pretending to ask me to, is the car ready or something like that? Then he'll come out in his new whatever, and all of us will erupt. New release, new.
Oh,
new and release. It was so much fun. And Jamaatul Islamiyah was quite unique. Most missions that I know would say the prayers and go home, but we would then have a reception. They would have a reception in the mosque, and it used to be, as a kid, was so much jollof rice and things. And then after the reception, my dad would disappear. Our dengue would come back about 1 o'clock, would have been with his friends, denied 30 daes of drinking and so on, so they play catch up. It used to be a lot of fun. There used to be a lot of eating. And even we had some Christians who would follow us to the mosque, to the prayer ground. Some of your friends will come along so that they can take part of it. Not now that people are divided along religious lines and there's no money to even feed yourself, talk less of feeding people. But happy Eid al-Fitr too. For at least we are alive, and hopefully we are well.
And Coach, is it not interesting that both the Lenten period and Ramadan happened simultaneously?
It happens quite regularly. But you find that Nigerians still don't show any. They don't show any. They go back to the same behavior. It doesn't mean anything to them. I remember the preachings of the late Alhaji Shodainde, and he would always say that some people they're just starving themselves. That is not just the denial of food and drinks; it's that you need to imbibe, good value. So if you've done all that, and immediately after that, you've gone back to your ways, then all you have done is just starve yourself.
Same with Christianity.
Or like some people, like they would say, down, with some imam, and there's nothing to gain.
Same with Christianity.
A lot of us practice these religions without deep thinking. We just do it so that people can see us as being pious.
Abstain from drinking for 30 days.
Abstain for some of us you just do it, and our minds are still as clogged and as clouded. That's the sad part. When you look at the what's going on, look at some of the people who phoned in today. They want an eye for an eye, but the eye that you want might not be the eye that you need. Do you understand what I'm saying?
All right, let's move on to the next paper. A Nation newspaper today, April 1, page 3, has this story. Shut up remark. Nweboyi threatens to report Ezekwesili to Igbo leaders.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
our senator
smelly
says,
mouth.
our senator says that he wants to report Ezekwesili to Igbo traditional rulers over what he described as a public insult. He will also be guilty of the same, if And I think that my advice to him is to just let it be. I don't know if the Igbo leaders would also be praising him, for at the very least, for publicly abusing a woman, personally, a married woman at that. I mean, not that it makes any difference if she's married or not, but first of all, she's a woman, she's another man's wife. And what is expected, like I said when the incident happened, what is expected of a man is usually you maintain your dignity and your silence. You are not supposed to hit back at a woman verbally or physically. If he had done that, he probably would have a ground to stand on. Unfortunately, nobody even saw when he was told to shut up. It was up his admission that yes, he told people rather saw him going on this big rant. And my advice, if anybody is close to him, is to just let it be. And he has apologized. He has done the gentlemanly thing. He shouldn't then spoil it with all this. Yes, want to say something?
Uncle Jimi, I know you as a no-nonsense man.
Yes.
You are disciplinarian.
Yes.
Yeah. So you're telling me, and I'm not holding brief for Nwemboy in no way.
Yes.
In no way. He doesn't deserve to be held brief for.
Yes.
But are you saying that if you and a foreman, someone says a lady tells you to shut up, you would keep quiet?
I'm a well brought up person.
Okay. Because we're learning.
What
I'm
I mean,
learning from you.
you better learn this. I'm a well brought up person. You must show some reverence to women, even your daughters. That's the way we are brought up. That's the way it should be. If I were in his own position, when she told me to shut up, rather than talk to her, I'd raise the issue with the chairman of the whatever. I said, look, I'd like to lay a report. This woman said something uncomplimentary to me. Let me tell you, you should know. Even at home with your wife, even you can't be caught shouting much.
Of course.
No, you maintain your dignity, maintain your silence, and you control your situation.
But sir, from the day you were born, have you lost your cool when anybody? Okay, when a female, address you in such a manner, have you ever lost your cool before?
Maybe.
So you tell me you've never lost your cool?
No. How would I say that? I'm not a hypocrite. Maybe in private, yes, that could jolly well happen. But you know where to draw the line. Don't forget that if you don't draw the line, if you don't take control of this situation, it could get so bad. And one thing I will tell you, no matter what you think is your stand, no matter how justified you think you are, in 9 cases out of 10, you can't win an argument with a woman. Once the crying starts and the whatever starts. So we were taught like that. We were told to respect. Women must be respected, whether you like it or not.
Yes.
They're special beings. They are mothers. So that's the way it is. What I definitely would have done, I wouldn't even, but you wouldn't even know she said such a thing. Sometimes it's even best to ignore these things. But if I did have to say something, there was a chairman at the event, and I said, Chairman, I seek your protection. This woman, and in referring to her, I'll still refer to her in a decent manner, because 2 wrongs don't make a right.
Okay. Felix Okai on Facebook says, Uncle JD, sir, please.
You wanted him to give up a can. You know what to go.
No, of course not. Says, sir, please help us beg the government to also light up Lekki Ekpe Expressway from Lekki to Ajah.
Come and fight your own fight.
Total darkness.
Come and fight your fight. I fought my own. No, don't worry. We'll do that.
All right. The next one here. 3 Lagos Assembly workers apologize for assaulting DSS personnel. Have they been released?
Yeah, I think so. I think some settlement has been reached, and I'd like to commend both parties. The DSS are in order if they said they wanted to prosecute them. One thing you need to know, if you don't know, you better know now. You do not touch a government personnel in the discharge of his duties. I repeat, you under no circumstances do you touch. It is an offense, and it's worldwide. It's worldwide. And I hope no matter the point that you want to make, it is against the law to physically touch an agent of government in the execution of his duties. There are certain things we need to learn about life, both what the law says and both where circumstances can lead you to. It is important that we all have this at the back of their minds. But I'd also like to thank the DSS for not insisting on prosecuting them, because it would heighten things. So it's a case of all's well that ends well. But I hope that people will learn. You do not, under circumstances, especially those in uniform, you might get away with thinking, okay, I didn't know he was a DSS official or he was a government official. But the moment he identifies himself, you cannot touch them. You can't push them. You can't touch them. You can't touch that uniform. And it is worldwide. It's not peculiar to Nigeria. So right. I'm glad that, I'm sure there's been some resolution and they've been told to apologize, and that's it.
All right, Uncle Jerry, we have to go. We will continue this Jojo at 9 o'clock. What are we talking about at 9? Very in one sentence.
I have Mr. Shonibare, Chief Shonibare of the FNFA. I have him here at 9.
Wow, fantastic. Thank you very much. And that's the size of the package right here on Dailies Today Part 2. The morning crossfire continues up next. The news at 8. I'm Kofi Bartels. Here's Jimi Disu. Good morning.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just
radio.
Every minute
that goes by,
something noteworthy is happening.
Government is someone who gave his assurance after President Muhammad Buhari unveiled the Lekki seaport.
It's only in Nigeria here that you police politician that does not go for medical training.
The candidate doesn't need to be as fit as an athlete. He just needs to have a basic level of health and fitness. This may be generous.